Smash Bros. Is a damn good game. That's probably the least controversial thing I'll ever say on this channel. Everyone loves Smash. The way it plays out the framework of fighting games with the much more accessible mechanics of a platformer is nothing short of brilliant. And much has been made about how the game is easy to pick up yet difficult to master, making it ideal for both college parties and high-level esports. A big part of this wide appeal is the game's characters. While most fighting games give you a giant roster of Bruce Lee clones, macho muscle dudes, weird monsters, and scantily clad buxom ladies, Smash's big hook is, of course, that it uses all recognizable characters from other video games.
Introducing Super Smash Bros., where all your favorite characters go toe-to-toe in one 4-player star-studded slam fest.
And it does wonders in making all these iconic characters from such diverse properties feel distinct and vibrant in their own right. And I feel that because of this, more so than any other fighting games, a person's main in Smash is a reflection of who they are as a person. So given that, I had the idea of making a video about who I play, and if anyone else wants to do so as well, that'd be amazing. This is an open invitation to talk about why your main is your main. I feel like I'm a particularly good candidate because, well, ever since playing Melee as a child, I've pretty much only played one fighter. Samus. Premiering in the 1986 NES game Metroid, Samus Aran is a bounty hunter and ex-soldier of the futuristic Galactic Federation. Armed with her power suit, an energy cannon on her arm, and various upgrades found throughout her adventures, Samus treks through sprawling alien worlds, exploring long-dead civilizations and fighting their monsters like a sci-fi Indiana Jones. The big thing that makes Samus notable in the annals of video game history is that, well, she's a woman. Back in the 80s, this idea of a woman leading an action-adventure game was near unheard of, so much that the first Metroid famously treats it as a twist. In all the manuals and promotional material, she was referred to with exclusively he/him pronouns, and the decision to make her a woman wasn't made until late in development. Series creator Yoshio Sakamoto was quoted saying, "We were partway through the development process when one of the staff members said, 'Hey, wouldn't it be cool if it turned out that the person inside this suit was a woman?' In the end, her gender was only revealed after the player beats the game, and is rewarded with an image of the hero they just spent hours playing as, armorless and bikini-clad. That iconic reveal is, no doubt, pretty gross. Letting the player ogle the protagonist as a reward for beating the final boss is icky. And besides that, the fact that the game contextualizes that Samus is a woman by explicitly sexualizing her for the first time is, not great. But despite that reveal not aging great, the importance of Samus being a woman can't be overstated. Aside from Miss Pac-Man, she was one of gaming's first female heroes, and she'd be an important symbol of power and strength for female gamers throughout ensuing generations. I can remember playing Metroid Prime 2 at a friend's house as a kid, while my friend's mom was telling my dad about how much she liked that we were playing as a woman saving the galaxy. And even though I couldn't express it at the time, Samus was very important to another woman. Me. I'm trans. I was born male, but didn't come out till I was 22. This means that the vast majority of my life has been this confusing haze of knowing that something's not right, but not knowing exactly what. I presented as a gay man for a good 8 years without ever so much as flirting with another man. I was never able to imagine myself growing old, and was never comfortable in my own body. My male persona was an armor that I put on every day to avoid facing the painful realities of the world. A masculine-appearing shell that concealed a fragile and scared woman on the inside. Like Samus. She and I were both assumed to be male for a long time before a, shall we say, less than graceful reveal following overcoming immense hardship. I don't really know if I was thinking of this when I first decided to play Samus as a kid. I don't even know if I knew she was a woman or if I just thought she was a cool robot, but clearly at some point I found out, and by the time my friend's mom was espousing Metroid Prime's feminist bona fides, I was clearly familiar with the gender of my chosen fighter, and I kept playing as her. Now, my Smash game isn't all that great in general, but my Samus game is on point. I love her moveset. She's nimble and quick with an arsenal of ranged attacks to back her up. Playing as her is all about keeping distance from your opponent and peppering them with projectiles before you move in for the finishing blow. She's a character who operates by escaping immediate danger first, then attacking from her strategically advantageous position. Personally, this idea of being able to both be safe from harm and defend yourself is super appealing. I've been through too much shit to romanticize the idea of a close-up all-out brawl, but I also know that I'm under attack often enough where I can't just roll over it and take it either. Having to face the world every day as it slugs vitriol, confusion, and general animosity at me, I often feel like I'm forced to carefully tiptoe around minefields, while occasionally firing the odd energy beam back. And my reading of Samus is metaphorically resonant with the experience of trans women is nothing new. Obviously, the fact that she was initially explicitly gendered as male, only to have a coming out as female later, opens her up to this reading rather easily. This was made even more explicit when one of her creators, Hirofumi Matsuoka, told the authors of the strategy guide for 1994's Super Metroid that Samus wasn't in fact a woman, but a new haifu. Now, this is, problematic, to say the least. The term Hirofumi used, new haifu, or new half, is a derogatory fetishistic term for trans women that's generally translated into English as a male. Like that aforementioned English slur, new half is a term primarily associated with trans women in pornography or sex work. However, the term had been used by trans women in the 1980s in Japan to refer to themselves. Hirofumi's use of the term is not great, and his insistence that that makes Samus not a woman is worse. And the reason that he said this is also debated. Some interpret this as a flippant joke at the expense of Samus's more masculine features, while others interpret it as a canonical statement. On the FAQ for the Japanese website for Metroid Zero Mission, a remake of the original game for Game Boy Advanced, series creator Yoshio Sakamoto said that Samus being a new half was not impossible, but unlikely. Yeah. Canonically, we don't really know what Samus's gender is, because, well, in a real sense, she doesn't have one. She's a fictional character, and Nintendo is famously scant with the characterization of their protagonists. Mario, Samus, and Link aren't exactly multi-layered, nuanced characters, as much as they are avatars for the player and the general mood they should approach the game with. Mario is happy and carefree, Link is determined and heroic, and Samus is steadfast and strong. This ambiguity leaves rooms for the players to interpret them in many different ways, and the reading of Samus as a trans woman has become popular amongst the Metroid fandom. Not universally accepted, mind you, but popular nonetheless. When talking about strong female characters, people often try to minimize how much their gender plays into their characterization. You'll often hear things like, Ripley from Alien isn't cool because she's a woman, she's cool because she's a badass, but nah, fuck that. Ripley's cool because of, not despite of the fact that she's a woman, and the same goes for Samus.
Get away from her, you bitch!
Given that we have so little to go off of in terms of canon, Samus's defining feature is, in many ways, her relationship with gender. Without that last-minute reveal in her debut game, I don't know if Samus would be remembered as fondly as she is. She is a powerful and capable woman in a field dominated by men, both in the genre that her game is a part of and the fictional universe in which her game takes place. Her bravery and intellect while exploring derelict civilizations all alone boldly counters typical gendered perceptions of women as frail and unintelligent. And more than that, she shows us that even if someone looks like what we assume is a man, that doesn't mean they're not a woman. I had to wear bulky battle armor for 22 years, but just like Samus, that didn't make me any less of a woman. She showed me that femininity is internal. It's something that each woman gets to define for themselves. It isn't contingent on anyone else's approval, and it doesn't preclude you from being a super cool badass who whips a ton of ass in the process. And much like Samus in Smash Bros. Brawl Onward, I have been allowed to shed my armor, and with a little practice, it turns out I'm just as competent of a fighter without it.